There comes a time in every life when the music stops and silence feels heavier than any sorrow we have known. It is in that hush, when dreams have fallen and hearts have cracked, that the universe whispers a sacred invitation: begin again. The courage to begin again is not loud. It does not roar from mountaintops or announce itself with fanfare. It is a quiet trembling in the chest, a fragile hope that says, maybe, just maybe, I can try once more. To begin again is to stand in the ruins of what once was and see possibility where others see loss. It is to gather the broken pieces of yesterday and shape them into something entirely new. You see, my dear friends, courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to walk through it. And when you begin again, you are not denying what has been, you are honoring it by refusing to let it be the end of your story. The world teaches us to fear failure, to bow before perfection. But perfection has never taught the soul how to live. It is in the trembling hands of those who rebuild, the tired hearts that still dream, that the human spirit shines brightest. Each new beginning carries the fingerprints of every lesson learned, every tear shed, every dream deferred. You are not starting from nothing, you are starting from wisdom. So, when life folds you into its dark corners, when the road ahead blurs with uncertainty, remember that courage does not always come dressed in strength. Sometimes it appears in the simple act of waking up and trying again. Sometimes it's the quiet promise you make to yourself, to love again, to trust again, to build again. The courage to begin again is the soul's declaration of resilience, its song of defiance against despair. You owe it to yourself to rise, to reclaim your voice, and to create anew. For each sunrise brings a second chance, and each breath is a silent invitation to start over. You may have fallen, but you have not failed. For as long as your heart still beats, you carry within you the divine gift of beginning again. There comes a time in every life when the world seems to slow, when laughter fades into memory, and the echoes of what once was linger like a forgotten melody. It is in these moments that we face the quiet truth of being human. Nothing lasts forever. Friendships drift, dreams crumble, and chapters close before we are ready to turn the page. Yet within that stillness, beneath the weight of loss and the achy of disappointment, there is a whisper, a gentle divine murmur that says you can begin again. The courage to begin again does not come in a blaze of glory. It rises softly like dawn after a long night, hesitant yet unstoppable. It is not about pretending the pain never happened or erasing the past. It is about learning to breathe through the hurt and trusting that life, in all its mystery, still holds beauty for you. To begin again is to stand in the debris of what you once built and choose not to see ruins, but raw materials. It is the faith to believe that your story is not over just because one chapter has ended. Life will ask you again and again to start over, to rebuild what was broken, to love after heartbreak, to dream after disappointment. And each time, courage will be your silent companion. It does not arrive fully formed, it grows from small acts of defiance. The act of rising when you would rather stay down. The act of forgiving when bitterness would be easier. The act of believing that your best days have not yet passed. When we speak of beginning again, we often think of grand gestures or dramatic transformations. But most beginnings are quiet, tender things. They start with a single step, a whispered prayer, a moment of surrender. To begin again is not weakness. It is strength in its purest form. It is the declaration that your spirit cannot be broken by circumstance. And though fear will walk beside you, it cannot control you. Courage is not about the absence of fear. It is about walking forward with trembling hands, knowing the road will not be easy, yet trusting that every step matters. Each sunrise is proof that the universe believes in renewal. You are not defined by what you have lost, but by what you choose to become. Even the flowers that bloom each spring must first survive the winter. So when life asks you to start anew, do not shrink back. Do not let the scars of yesterday convince you that you are unworthy of tomorrow. You are the architect of your rebirth, the author of your next chapter, the artist of your own becoming. To begin again is to honor the divine resilience within you, the part of you that refuses to give up, that dares to hope, that still believes in the miracle of a new dawn. To begin again is to understand that imperfection is not a flaw but a foundation. Life was never meant to be neat or predictable. The paths we walk twist and turn, and sometimes they crumble beneath our feet. Yet within those fractures lies a quiet invitation to rise, to learn, to begin anew. Too often we wait for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect version of ourselves before daring to start again. But perfection has never been the teacher of courage. It is through our mistakes, our stumbles, and our scars that we learn what it means to truly live. Beginning again is not about erasing the past, but about embracing it with tenderness. Every failure, every heartbreak, every wrong turn has shaped the person standing here today. And that person, flawed, resilient, still standing, is more capable than they know. When we fall, our instinct is often to hide the broken parts of ourselves, to cover them up with smiles and silence. But those cracks are where the light enters. It takes courage to show the world our imperfections, to admit we do not have it all figured out. The courage to begin again starts with acceptance. Acceptance of the fact that we are human, that we will fall short, that we will lose our way from time to time. It is not the polished, perfect moments that define us. It is how we respond when life tests us. To begin again is to look at our reflection, not with judgment, but with compassion. To say, I am enough, even as I rebuild. There is strength in vulnerability. There is wisdom in failure. Each time we falter, we gather lessons the easy road could never teach us. When you embrace imperfection, you give yourself permission to grow. You learn to release the weight of guilt and the illusion of control. You stop chasing an image of perfection and start living in the fullness of reality. Life becomes softer, deeper, more honest. You begin to see that beauty does not come from what is flawless. It comes from what has survived. Every scar is a story of endurance. Every setback is a lesson in patience. Every beginning is a quiet act of rebellion against despair. And though the world may tell you to be flawless, to hide your wounds, you must remember that courage is born in the moments when you choose to show up anyway. Begin again, not because you have all the answers, but because your heart still beats with possibility. Begin again, even if your hands shake and your voice trembles. Begin again, because imperfection is proof that you are alive, still learning, still growing. There is nothing more beautiful, more human, than the courage it takes to start again, exactly as you are. There is a fire within each of us, sometimes roaring and bright, other times dim and flickering beneath the ashes of exhaustion, disappointment, and fear. To begin again requires us to reach for that hidden ember and breathe life into it once more. The courage to start over is not found in the noise of the world, but in the quiet chambers of the heart. It is not about external validation or waiting for others to light the path for us. It is about discovering the steady flame that has always lived within. Life will try to convince you that you have lost your spark, that too much time has passed, or that failure has extinguished your light. But no matter how dark the night may feel, that small flame within you, your resilience, your spirit, still burns, waiting to rise again. To reclaim the fire within is to remember who you are beneath the layers of doubt. It is to speak kindly to yourself after years of silence. It is to forgive yourself for the times you gave up and to celebrate the fact that you are still here, still capable of more. The fire within is not fueled by success, it is fed by faith. Faith that your journey has meaning, that your pain has purpose, that your story is still unfolding in ways unseen. When you begin again, you are not restarting from the beginning, you are reigniting from experience. Every setback, every disappointment has given you something the world cannot take away. Wisdom, compassion, depth. There will be moments when the world feels heavy and your spark feels small, but even a small flame can light the way through the darkest tunnel. You must protect that flame, nurture it, speak life into it. Surround yourself with voices that remind you of your strength, not your shortcomings. Seek stillness, for in stillness the fire grows stronger. The noise of the world will try to drown it, but your courage will keep it alive. Beginning again is not about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about using what you've learned to rise with greater power. When you reclaim your inner fire, you stop looking for permission to shine. You begin to realize that you are the light you've been searching for. The courage to begin again comes from the moment you decide that your dreams are worth fighting for, even if the world has forgotten them. It comes from trusting that your spirit was built for resilience, that every flame dimmed by failure can be reignited by hope. The world may have tried to put out your light, but you, only you, have the power to make it blaze again. So breathe, lift your head, and remember the fire within you has not died. It is only waiting for you to believe in it once more. To begin again, you must first learn the art of letting go. It sounds simple, but it is one of the hardest lessons life ever asks of us. We cling to what we know, even when it hurts us, because the familiar feels safer than the unknown. We hold on to people who have already walked out of our story, dreams that no longer fit who we are, and pain that we've carried so long it feels like a part of our identity. But to grow, to rise, to truly begin again, you must release what no longer serves your spirit. Letting go is not about forgetting. It is about freeing yourself from the weight of what was so you can make space for what can be. The truth is, we cannot carry old burdens into new beginnings. If our hands are full of yesterday, how will we ever grasp tomorrow? Letting go requires courage, the courage to face your own heart and admit that some things were meant only to teach you, not to stay with you forever. There is power in release. There is grace in surrender. It is not weakness to walk away from what once mattered. It is wisdom to recognize when it no longer helps you grow. Every time you let go, you make room for something more aligned, more peaceful, more authentic. Growth cannot exist without change, and change cannot come without release. We must unclench the fists that hold our pain, our resentment, our fear. We must learn to say goodbye not only to others but to versions of ourselves that no longer fit who we are becoming. Sometimes, beginning again means shedding old identities, no longer being who the world expects you to be, but daring to be who you truly are. That kind of freedom is not found in control, it is born in surrender. When you release your need to control every outcome, life begins to move in ways that surprise you. You begin to trust the process, to believe that what is meant for you will find its way. Letting go also means forgiving yourself most of all. You must forgive yourself for staying too long, for believing too deeply, for falling too hard. You did the best you could with what you knew then, and that is enough. Forgiveness is the bridge between the past and the future. It allows you to step into your next chapter without the weight of regret. The moment you release the old pain, you begin to breathe differently. You begin to see differently. You begin to live differently. And so, when you find yourself standing at the edge of a new beginning, don't look back in sorrow for what you've lost. Look ahead in gratitude for what you are about to gain. For every ending that asks you to let go is not a punishment. It is a gentle invitation from life itself, asking you to make room for something greater. There is a quiet kind of dignity in starting small. In a world that glorifies instant success, massive leaps, and grand achievements, it takes true courage to honor the power of small, consistent steps. When you begin again, the road ahead may seem long and uncertain, but every great transformation starts with a single action. It might be a whispered affirmation in the morning, a single page written after months of silence, or one deep breath taken in the face of fear. These small steps may seem insignificant in the moment, yet they are the seeds of change, the quiet foundation upon which courage builds its home. The beauty of beginning again is not in how quickly you move, but in your willingness to move at all. The world often tells us that progress must be loud, visible, and immediate to matter. But real growth is rarely loud. It happens in silence, in discipline, in the daily acts that no one sees. There is dignity in showing up when no applause is waiting, in continuing when no one is watching. It is in these humble, private moments that character is built and resilience takes root. The courage to begin again is found in the persistence to take one step today, another tomorrow, and another the day after, even when the finish line feels far away. You don't have to climb the entire mountain at once. You only need to take the next step before you. When you start small, you give yourself permission to grow naturally. You stop demanding perfection and start celebrating progress. Each step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you have chosen hope over fear. And hope, when nurtured through daily action, becomes unshakable strength. The greatest transformations are rarely born in bursts of brilliance. They are built through the quiet rhythm of perseverance. Small steps teach patience, and patience builds endurance. It is in those moments of repetition, those moments of just one more try, that you become stronger, wiser, and braver than you ever imagined. Sometimes the step you take today will not look like progress to anyone else, but that doesn't matter. What matters is that you are moving, that you have refused to stay still. Life rewards consistency far more than perfection. Each small act compounds into something powerful over time. Like drops of water carving through stone, your steady effort reshapes your destiny. You will look back one day and realize that those small, quiet moments of effort were what carried you through the storm. So, when you begin again, do not rush. Do not compare your pace to others. Trust that your steady rhythm is enough. Honor your small steps, for they are the proof of your courage. Remember that greatness is not born overnight. It grows slowly, beautifully, in the heart of those who keep showing up, one brave step at a time. Faith in the unknown is the foundation of every new beginning. When we decide to start again, we step into a place without guarantees, where the outcome is uncertain and the path is often invisible. It is natural to fear what we cannot see. We crave certainty, control, and the comfort of knowing how things will turn out. But courage does not thrive in certainty. It blossoms in the unknown. To begin again is to walk forward, even when you cannot see the end of the road, to trust that each step will reveal the next, and to believe that something meaningful waits on the other side of your fear. The unknown is not your enemy. It is the space where possibility lives, where new dreams take shape and hidden strengths are revealed. When life falls apart, it's easy to believe that the best days are behind you. The mind clings to what is familiar, replaying the past, searching for answers that no longer matter. But faith invites you to lift your eyes and look ahead. Even when the future is a blur, faith whispers that your journey is not over, that there is more to be discovered, more to be created, more to become. The unknown may feel like darkness, but within it lies the potential for light. Every dream that ever came true was once a step into uncertainty. Every person who has ever rebuilt their life began with nothing but faith and the will to try again. Having faith in the unknown is not about ignoring fear. It is about moving forward in spite of it. It is about trusting that the lessons you have learned will guide you, even when you cannot see the destination. It is knowing that what feels like an ending is often the beginning of something greater. The unknown tests your patience and challenges your strength, but it also awakens your deepest courage. It calls you to rely not on what you can predict, but on what you believe. When you stop demanding to know every answer, you create space for miracles to unfold. The truth is, life has always been uncertain. We never truly know what tomorrow holds. But when you make peace with that truth, you begin to live with a deeper sense of freedom. You stop needing everything to make sense, and instead, you allow life to surprise you. Faith does not remove the storms, it teaches you how to walk through them with grace. When you have faith in the unknown, you understand that every twist, every detour, every closed door is part of a larger design that will one day make sense. So take that first step, even if your knees tremble. Trust that each moment of uncertainty is shaping you, preparing you, guiding you toward what is meant for you. The courage to begin again is not about knowing where you are going. It is about believing that you are meant to go. Every time you begin again, you take back authorship of your own story. Life will hand you many chapters you did not expect. Chapters of loss, of failure, of heartbreak. but it is your courage that decides how the story continues. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by how you choose to rise. To begin again is to pick up the pen that life once snatched away and write with renewed strength, compassion, and wisdom. You are not powerless. You are the author, and every moment of courage becomes a sentence that shapes your becoming. No one else can tell your story for you. Others may try to interpret it, edit it, or doubt it, but only you know the rhythm of your heart and the meaning of your pain. Beginning again is reclaiming your narrative and choosing to tell it from a place of growth, not defeat. When you decide to start over, you are not erasing your past, you are reframing it. You begin to see that every heartbreak was not the end but a redirection. Every failure was not a fall but a lesson in disguise. The pen you hold now is heavier because it carries experience, humility, and truth. What once broke you has taught you to write with honesty. What once silenced you has taught you to speak with purpose. This is the beauty of beginning again. You no longer write from innocence, but from wisdom. And that wisdom gives depth to every line of your story. Becoming the author of tomorrow requires courage because it means embracing change. It means being brave enough to let go of old plots that no longer serve you. Sometimes, you will have to close the book on a version of yourself that can no longer walk with you into the future. That kind of courage is quiet but profound. It's the courage of self-trust, the belief that even if the story shifts, even if the setting changes, the protagonist within you will endure. You are both the writer and the character, shaping and shaped, falling and rising again. Each new beginning gives you a chance to write with greater clarity. It invites you to imagine new dreams, new relationships, new meanings. You get to decide what kind of story your life will tell from this point forward. Will it be one of bitterness or one of resilience? Will it echo pain or sing of transformation? The courage to begin again gives you that choice. You may not control the storms that come, but you control how your story weathers them. You hold the power to turn tragedy into triumph, silence into song, endings into rebirths. So, write bravely. Start the next chapter with an open heart and an unshakable belief that your story is far from over. Each time you begin again, you become more than you were before. Wiser, bolder, and beautifully alive in the narrative only you can tell. And so, when you stand at the edge of a new beginning, trembling between what was and what could be, remember this: every sunrise is proof that you are allowed to start over. The past may have shaped you, but it does not own you. The pain you have endured has carved space for deeper strength, and the losses you've carried have taught you how to rise with grace. Beginning again is not a sign of weakness. It is the purest expression of faith, the quiet declaration that your story is still unfolding. So, take a breath, gather your courage, and step forward. The page is blank, the pen is in your hand, and the world is waiting for the next beautiful chapter only you can write.